The hour, let me convene the Committee of the Whole of City Council and ask for a roll call.
Jacobson?
Here.
Finucane?
Here.
Marquardt?
Here.
Snow?
Here.
Noriko?
Here.
Baker? O'Leary?
Here.
Ray?
Here.
7 present.
Thank you. First item on our agenda this evening is the state of the city. And I would like to begin that address to City Council and the public at this time. Last Tuesday, the Chamber of Commerce invited the city manager and me to address their 6th annual State of the City meeting with members and guests. We want to present the information tonight for those of you here in the audience and at home. This, after all, is your community, and it is important to give this status and review of activities for the past year to all citizens. President Baker of NIU shared the presentation on Tuesday, which represents how NIU is a key party in the partnership with the city. I wish this evening to title my comments, Taking the Lead. I will introduce our message. City Manager Gora will follow with a summary of activities for this past year. Taking the lead, we are working hard to set a positive quality of life for citizens. We are not alone. You are all key players. Thank you for being here or listening at home and for doing your part in leading the community as a member, supporter of the Chamber of Commerce, contributing in a positive way to our community spirit. From the city organization, we work with other public bodies, governments, and tax authorities, including county, township, state, and national. Other local tax authorities, Anne Marie and I maintain a regular conversation with our counterparts at the school district, the park district, as well as the sanitary district. It is all about relationships. Regular conversations are held with NIU, not only President Baker, with whom I have a close, open communication, but with all staff, including deans, trustees, and other staff. I make certain of introductions and encourage dialogue among staff members of the city and NIU, all within bounds of the Open Meetings Act. This is part of the integrity, accountability, and building of trust with which I carry out the responsibilities of the office to which you, as members of this community, have given me charge. It takes teamwork. I set the tone, the overall context of our messaging for the city of DeKalb, communicating in the spirit of transparency. We are conducting community conversations these days across the community and are more than halfway through a series of workshops to which public citizens are invited to offer their dreams, desires, and aspirations for this community. Staff members from NIU Center for Governmental Studies are facilitating the workshops, Community Conversations, with Anne Marie and Patty Hoppenstedt setting the context for input to the Council's consideration of a 10-year view of this city. These community conversations will give us on City Council a sense of what services and amenities people desire in their city. Citizen involvement is a key to effective communication. I encourage you to attend a workshop at a convenient time for you and give us your input, or complete a 2015 strategic plan survey on the city's website. Local churches have supported beloved community dinner conversations, which have included both NIU and DeKalb Chiefs of Police. 6 have been held in various faith communities and other venues. These have been hosted at New Hope Baptist, First Lutheran, Newman Center, Cathedral of Praise, Westminster Presbyterian. Last night, a potluck was held at the Black Studies Center on NIU campus. August 16th, there's a beloved community potluck scheduled at Bethlehem Lutheran, and August 30th, a community picnic is planned at Hopkins Park, 1 o'clock till 8 o'clock p.m. We're doing our part in presenting information about the city in a transparent fashion. This year, we are recognized for the 21st year of the Comprehensive Annual Financial Plan, the CAFR report. Having added a personal annual financial report, abbreviated the PAFR, and a city annual report covering the fiscal year ended June 30th. The annual report contains much of what we've already seen in the budget document, but in a much friendlier and understandable manner. Copies of the annual report are on the city's website, www.cityofdekalb.com. Recently produced promotional material used in developer and broker forums where we showcase DeKalb are titled, "Let Us Tell You About a Town," and "Why DeKalb?" Our answer is why not. These promotional materials really give a positive view of our community, and I encourage you to have access to these. We'll have them down in the lobby of City Hall available, and they'll be in various community presentations. Let me touch on where we've been. Anne Marie will be reviewing specific outcomes with you this evening. I want to take all the pieces into consideration, giving you a sense of the future and helping establish where we want to be, where we need to go, and how to get there. Last year, I described we were moving through structural change in city government. You will see results of this transformational change throughout the past year in outcomes of city staff activity in Anne Marie's presentation this evening. Let me just say, I am very pleased with her management style, which embraces an openness and clear expectations of performance through which she sets a standard of excellence. I am delighted to see Anne Marie's empowerment of staff members whom we have placed in key positions where they can make positive contributions to our quality of life. I want to thank all city staff for their contributions to these results. Anne Marie's collaborative style is seen not only with staff, but throughout her relationships in the community. Let me tell you about a town. I love DeKalb. This is the town where I've spent a career, we have raised our children, and we've enjoyed our neighbors. It is the people who make the community great. DeKalb is among the 50 quarterfinal communities of Frontier's America's Best Communities because we have a strong case to present. A social service network covers citizens with a safety net of services that are available as needed throughout the community. The social fabric of this community is a characteristic that makes us very attractive. We have been in serious conversations for over 10 years, moving off the growth, no growth topic to topics of substance on economic development and community relationships. Ideas were originally presented in the Vital Community Papers in 2005, including the following: achievement through planning and cooperation, sustainable economic vitality and supportive economic development, the role of government. We are presently retooling the local economy. Retail commercial business needs growth and expansion. The fiber optic backbone is in place. Fortune 500 company expansion is occurring, a $40 million investment by 3M. The Kish Health System has key partnerships with Loyola, and a Northwestern Medical Association relationship is under review. And this is after a $100 million expansion to the Kish Hospital. Library expansion is underway at $25 million investment. Oakcrest Retirement Center is expanding $14 million. 24 rooms with a pool and activities area are included in that expansion. The city is sponsoring a $9 million revenue bond issue at no cost to the city. These will give tax-exempt status to the investors. Within city government, the Human Resource Director position has been included in the 2016 budget. This awaits outcome from the state legislature on the local government distributive fund. Recent promotions address the compression issue and succession planning. It is good to see good performance recognized and rewarded. My background in this community is extensive. My past work on Ben Gordon Center Board of Directors, Family Service Agency staff, and elected office on the local school board, including president of the school board, and volunteer on several city commissions, give me an understanding of the value of the social service and other agencies that provide in the fabric of our community. My role as mayor in the manager-council form of government is to manage agendas for city council, moderate the meetings of the council, foster conversations among community matters, as well as carry out official functions of the office. Anne Marie oversees projects and day-to-day operations of city government. According to the Illinois City Manager Association, it is extremely important that the manager administrator and the mayor council work as a team under a climate of trust, openness, and mutual respect. A team which knows what each player is to do and relies on each member doing their part. We have a strong team in place. My vision for DeKalb is simple. We have very positive things happening in this community. People are our greatest asset. We can't let the past or present dictate our future. We can do better. You and neighbors all deserve our best efforts, best practices, if you will. The opportunity lies in delivering core services to the community in an efficient, effective way that contributes to a positive end result, a good place to call home. Strategic priorities have been at the foundation of our activities in city government, set by this city council in 2014, which include infrastructure, financial stability, sustainable operations, strategic planning, public safety, and regional airport. These priorities have been the drivers of activity for staff's attention to matters of importance. Anne Marie will cover accomplishments in her comments this evening. The vision I have includes the robust offering of a good selection of goods and services, job opportunities at jobs providing living wage positions. Our community can be a place people want to be. It provides a climate of fairness and equity to all people as a norm of the community, fostering human spirit and compassion for other people. It has a mix of quality residential options for various lifestyles. It is a better place for future generations to flourish. The mission is to foster a climate of economic vibrancy as a new normal, and to maintain a strong labor pool, attracting talent and skills with a good work ethic for employers. We need to invest in ourselves, capturing the can-do attitude and spirit of the people with whom we live and work, giving energy and support to transformative projects with transparency throughout the process. As we look forward toward fiscal 2017 and beyond, fiscal sustainability is a real concern. Streets, water infrastructure, and fleet replacement are in need of long-term planning. We must keep the main thing the main thing. Core services provided in a cost-effective manner. Taking the lead, we must set goals and policies based on principles of best practices that represent good, sound, principle-based applications, giving sustainable approaches to our actions, bringing the most value, not necessarily the cheapest or least expensive solution to the table, contributing to a better quality of life through creative, innovative solutions, and keeping an eye on the big picture with consideration of long-term impact of our actions. DeKalb is among 50 communities in competition as quarterfinalist for Frontiers America's Best Communities grant. We are focused on the following factors: drawing together a collaborative team of leaders, identifying a project that will stimulate economic development, bringing value to the community's future, planning for the community's approach to Tier 1 to reach the next level in competition, planning for strategic impact on the community from the collaborative team with a transformative project. We are working to foster private engagement in the public-private partnership. We are at a key juncture in this community. Challenges lie ahead. We must take the lead with solutions. Change is needed. It can be painful, but anything worth achieving takes hard work. If we aren't changing for the better, we are falling behind. I remind all of us, DeKalb is among America's best communities for very good reasons, which include many of you good people in leadership roles. City employees are challenged to do their best in service delivery to all citizens. As we move into the future, we are a different community, and we are better for it. Help contribute where you can to meet your neighbors. Together, we will make this a better place, and thank you for taking the lead. I will turn now to Anne Marie Gora, City Manager, for her review of recent outcomes. Anne Marie.
Thank you, Mayor. It's my privilege. It's my privilege and pleasure to help assist in the State of the City address this evening. In the time since I assisted in presenting last year, a lot's happened. I've gotten more acclimated in my position, and my husband and I have moved to DeKalb. I'm making this presentation not only as your city manager, but as a proud resident of the city of DeKalb. What I'd like to do now is to give an overview of the presentation and briefly touch on what I'm going to talk about, elaborating on the mayor's particular comments. I'm going to focus on businesses, projects, and plans. I'm going to explain some of the organizational restructuring and succession planning. I'm going to highlight some of our success stories here in the city and outline steps taken to move DeKalb forward, specifically focusing on an increase of communication, implementation of best practices, and continuation of key partnerships. I want to talk about new businesses. Even though some high-profile businesses have closed over the past year, other new businesses have opened, from Barb City Bagels to Culver's to Elwood Steakhouse. On this slide, to the reopening of the House Cafe, to La Michoacana Ice Cream Bar, to Montessori Academy, to Urban Grace. These are some of the businesses that have opened in the past year. We have restaurants, a bagel shop, ice cream store, to a grocery store, a laundromat, and several professional businesses. We've had over 17 new businesses by last count open in the last year. The economy is definitely picking up because we continue to see investment in the community. I want to talk about completed projects. From the south end of town on 4th Street to the heart of downtown, I want to highlight some of the completed or almost completed projects. We've seen the relocation of Ducky's Formal Wear and the expansion of Manning Ford. In addition to Small Town Skate Shop relocating further east on Lincoln Highway, the accompanying indoor skate park will be opening soon. This brings great addition to the eastern portion of the downtown. Projects in progress. We've got a number of projects in progress. The enterprise, first I'll highlight some of the ones we're already aware of, and Fortunately, this evening we have Dee Coover from the library in attendance. This is one of the projects we're most proud of. It's what's happening in the downtown. We also have University Plaza, where they have finished converting the south tower and now working on the north tower, and they're converting from a residence hall to apartments. Chilton Sporting Goods, in fact, I walked past there today, and it looks like they've completed their facade, and it looks incredible. We've got Fatty's Pub and Grill that is currently going through a major expansion, so if you haven't been to Fatty's lately, I encourage you to take a look at that expansion of what they're doing, not only on the inside of the building, but the outside of the building. Burger King has rebuilt their building, and they're hoping to open within the next couple of weeks and made an investment in the Lincoln Highway corridor. University Village will be coming to the council as a follow-up to the June 8th discussion. We are bringing back, per your direction, a draft agreement at the August 10th meeting to receive further clarification and direction on how to proceed. And the Enterprise Zone. The Enterprise Zone designation would enable qualified development projects to receive state tax incentives in order to stimulate private investment and economic growth. The City of DeKalb worked with DeKalb County, 5 other municipalities, and 8 other taxing districts to apply for an Illinois Enterprise Zone. Within the City of DeKalb alone, the DeKalb School District, the DeKalb Public Library, the DeKalb Sanitary District, DeKalb Township, and Kishwaukee College all participated in this collaborative effort. DeKalb County is one of 66 applicants for 49 Enterprise Zone slots in 2015, and our goal is to know by September 30th as to whether we've received the designation. Construction projects. This past year we've seen basically $1.5 million in capital improvements from some of the street repairs that we've had, all the way to more specifically talk about putting in ADA accessibility sidewalk updates, and we have the specific streets located on the slide, from Fisk Avenue to 10th Street to Maplewood Avenue, from Grove Street from 5th to 7th. And we are also intently working on the Kishwaukee River Bike Path connection, and this is going to be an integral connection in our bikeway path, in that it will connect the south end of town. It will come under Lincoln Highway on the west side of the Kishwaukee River, come under Lincoln Highway, connect with the NIU campus, and allow the south end of town to connect with NIU and the north end of town. As far as upcoming projects, 3M has chosen Park 88 as the location for a new 987,000 square foot distribution center. They are consolidating their operations and moving staff from their facilities on Worsing Drive and Barber Green Road to an expanded facility in Park 88 directly adjacent to their Maycom Drive facility. The city has worked with Park 88 to fast track this project and make it happen in DeKalb instead of the alternate site in Atlanta, Georgia. They'll be turning dirt by August 1st of this year and moving to their new facility by August 1st of next year. And this is one of the items on the City Council's agenda for this evening. But think about it. A week from now, they'll be turning dirt, and a year from now, they'll be in their new building. Oakcrest is also moving forward on a 70,000 square foot addition that will include 24 independent living apartments, indoor parking spaces, meeting rooms, exercise space, swimming pool, jacuzzi, and a dining room. The city is being a conduit issuer on $9 million worth of bonds. These bonds will be special, limited obligations, and do not count towards the city's indebtedness. And this is an item I know that the City Council has recently approved. Acquisition of property. I want to take a second just to talk about this. City has moved forward on the acquisition of 2 parcels in the past year, the Pertanos property on South 4th Street and the residential lot immediately east of the police department on Lincoln Highway. With Pertanos, it was very important for the city to be able to acquire Pertanos in order to move forward in submitting a grant to the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency. Once the city was in control of the property, we're now more able to have grant opportunities to be able to remediate that site and then redevelop that site. In regards to the lot east of the police department, as everyone's aware, we're very fortunate that we were able to move into this building a little more than a year and a half ago. It's a landlocked site. When we saw the opportunity, when the current landowner wanted to sell, we moved forward on that, and we'll be able to use this whether it's for parking or our future decisions that will ultimately be decided by the City Council. But it was a great opportunity to move forward on that. Some of our plans that we've worked on in the past year, Housing Study Phase 2, we were able to receive and include valuable data from NIU on students, and we also had DeKalb School District partnered with us and also participated in that process, so we were very glad for that. comprehensive street inventory, which we had completed the first step. We have additional item on the city council agenda this evening, and I know our interim director of public works and our city engineer, John Laskowski, can elaborate on this, but it allows us to create a pavement index rating of all of our streets and be able to know what the conditions are and what we need to do to improve those. Airport governance study, which should be coming to the council in the next couple of months. This looks at a recommendation as far as options for proceeding forward on the governance structure for the airport, as well as making other key recommendations as to how we can improve airport operations. The water infrastructure plan, the council's already seen as part of a joint meeting with the Finance Advisory Committee. We're in the process of trying to set up another meeting to have that follow-up discussion on the rate study with what the consultant has recommended, which is Burns and McDonnell, spending roughly $1 million a year on water improvements. How is that funded? And the consultant had provided some options. The council directed a further recommendation, so the consultant is going to bring that back to you for your review and see how you want to proceed with that. And the strategic plan. Most municipalities endeavor to look at a 5-year horizon when discussing strategic plans, but our mayor and city council wanted a longer time period to have a greater impact on the city. They've chosen to conduct a strategic plan that establishes goals and action plans for the next 10 years. The strategic plan incorporates extensive community input, including, we're up to 8 community conversations facilitated by the Center for Governmental Studies. We had one this afternoon, which was very well attended, that took place from 2 to 3:30 p.m. And we strongly encourage you to participate in this process. Your voice and opinions matter. In fact, I think right now at this time there was one happening at NIU. The mayor and city council will be provided with an initial summary of the community input in August. The draft plan will then be presented to you in October for your review and action. I want to take a minute just to elaborate our communication efforts in the last year. First and foremost, the city launched a brand new website, and part of this was to be in compliance with Department of Justice settlement agreement in regards to the website to make sure that it was compliance with the ADA. And I'm very pleased and proud to announce that we have received notification from the Department of Justice that we are officially in compliance with their notification. So there are no outstanding issues with our website. So we thank the mayor and the council for allowing us to move forward on updating the website. Lauren Stott, our management analyst, continues to work with the community, and we encourage any feedback on improvements or changes. And I know she's very diligently working with those members of the community that provide that input. So thank you. Social media, we are doing more with social media, particularly Facebook. So if you haven't, please like us on Facebook and follow us on Facebook. The mayor has touched on the popular annual financial report, which I'll elaborate in a moment, and as well as the annual report, which we had at the last council meeting, which we will continue to do on an annual basis moving forward, just to be able to summarize to the entire community of what we have accomplished in the past year. As far as succession planning, I know the mayor has touched on this, and we've talked about the restructuring of the departments. We essentially pulled the finance division out of the city manager's office to have that be a standalone department. We also brought back the community development department that was pulled into public works after the recession. Part of that was in light of seeing future development, which, as we've seen, there's definitely an uptick. So we have that restructuring that's gone on place. As part of that, and as part of one of the recommendations of the pay compensation and classification study, we had 6 promotions, which were highlighted at the last meeting. So the employees and their positions are highlighted on this slide. We have 1 in the fire department, 1 in the public works, and 4 in the police department. And essentially, the structure creates a system, in particular in the police department, where you have 1 chief and you have 2 deputy chiefs. This improves efficiency and effectiveness and allows for greater succession planning in the future. And here are some of our success stories. Camp Power. I can't say enough about how great Camp Power has turned out. We're in the 2nd year. So much of the credit goes to Police Chief Gene Lowry for having the leadership foresight and working with the community to make this a collaborative effort, not only this year or last year, but this year as well. And everything that I've heard, there's even much more participation from the community, stepping up to the plate and volunteering. This is an opportunity for the community to mentor and provide a camp to the children that live in University Village. Code Red implementation. It was right around this time last year that Code Red went live, and we've asked residents to participate in this, and this allows us, if you register, that when there is an emergency, for us to notify you via your cell phone or whatever forms of communication. The commercial inspection program, this had much discussion at the city council level, as well as much discussion with the community to get the input and feedback as to how to structure this. We have started moving forward on this. This is a 3-year program that will allow our firefighters to go in and conduct basic fire life safety inspections of our commercial and industrial businesses. And I wanted to also credit the firefighters for stepping up to the plate and expanding their workday at no additional cost in order to be able to provide these inspections to the community. Crime-free housing and crime reduction I'm going to talk about on the next 2 slides. Crime-free housing is definitely a huge success. When you look at what this has been able to do, is it's reduced crime in rental property, and it's also improved communication and trust, I think not only with the residents that live there, but with the landlords as well. I believe the chief has talked about this in the past, that we have like over 99% of our landlords have gone through this training. And what you see on your slide are just one of the examples of before and after pictures of the improvements on property maintenance and the impact that this is having not only on the crime portion, but on the physical look of the community. So hats off go to Chief Lowry and all those involved in crime-free housing in the police department. The next 2 slides I want to highlight, and I know the chief has talked about this when he's done his annual report with the police department, but it's important to note and highlight and stress in this presentation. Part 1 crimes are at their lowest point in the last 10 years, and I want to repeat that again. Part 1 crimes are at their lowest point in the last 10 years. They peaked in 2011, and they have decreased 18% cumulatively during that time. Community policing is having an impact in this community. And once again, the credit goes to the chief and the fine men and women in the police department. As far as Part 2 crimes, they're also at their lowest point in the last 10 years. They peaked in 2008 and have decreased 32% cumulatively during that time. So for the residents who are watching this presentation, please take a look at these slides and see the impact that community policing is having in this community. Award-winning. I'll go through these very quickly. America's Best Communities, we're an ABC quarterfinalist. We have a very active ABC group that is working on this. We have received the Illinois Policy Institute Award for Financial Transparency. We've received the Tree City USA for the 17th award. The mayor's touched on our CAFR award, and we're very proud on the PAFR award. As far as the ABC grant, the purpose of the grant is to drive economic development and revitalization. And you're going to see more of the icon that's on this slide, hashtag Proudly DeKalb. And if you don't have one of these bumper stickers, we'll get one for you. You're going to see them all over the place. As far as the PAFR award, this is the first PAFR, so the Popular Annual Financial Report that the city has put together, and the credit goes to staff for putting this together. It provides basic financial information on our financial condition, and this is the slide, this explanation of the breakdown of property tax that is probably the most popular thing in the PAFR and the most feedback that we've gotten. When you look at the property tax bill, only 8% of the total cost of your property tax bill is from the city. So it's quite significant that we achieved this award in the first year that we've submitted on it. Customer service improvements. We created a one-stop shop at the City Hall. So instead of starting at one side at the City Hall and going across the street to the annex, people can now come in, have everything done on the first floor. We relocated the staff from the annex to the City Hall. We extended hours of operation, and we expanded the work week to 40 hours for non-bargaining unit employees. As far as best practices, we're putting together a purchasing manual, which is before you tonight, the City Council. We've expanded our financial policies. We've looked at revamping our fiscal year 16 annual budget, once again to be in line with GFOA model, which is the Government Finance Officers Association. And this is for transparency and ease of understanding of what we are doing financially. Here are some of our community partnerships. We've done a lot of joint planning with NIU. It's been extremely important, and we will continue doing that. Some of those include the used fire ladder purchase truck, or truck purchase, and this is the photo of the truck that should be delivered in the next month or so. It's $420,000 cost with a significant contribution from NIU. We've done a significant co-policing effort between the city police department and the NIU police department, and we've done a tremendous amount of emergency disaster planning. And it's not only at our police department levels, the fire department, but regionally, a number of entities that are involved in that. Looking forward and getting to the conclusion of the presentation, some of the things we have to look forward to is the Glidden North Corridor Study. This is the area that is basically north of NIU and northwest of NIU, which incorporates and includes Greek Row. We need to look at how do we assist that neighborhood in redevelopment, and one of the things that has been pointed out by the residents as an example, in particular from University Village, is that there's a food desert in that area. We need to accomplish and address some of the challenges that we have in that area of the community. We've talked about the Pertanos grant application, the Egyptian Theater, which we had extensive discussion with the council at the June 22nd meeting as far as what is the future of the Egyptian Theater moving forward, the development projects that we've talked about, 3M and Oakcrest. So once the council approves those items, that work doesn't stop by staff, that work just continues. So we're just at the beginning of all those projects. And long-range capital planning. We need to look at streets, fleet, and water, and these are going to be conversations we'll be having with the City Council in the months to come. In closing, it's been an extremely busy year with many accomplishments. Many of these goals have been attained through collaboration, partnerships, teamwork, investment, and vision. And I'm looking forward to another phenomenal year. Thank you for this opportunity to assist the mayor in presenting the State of the City Address.
Thank you, City Manager Gora. We will have a public participation portion in tonight's Committee of the Whole. Individuals are welcome to ask questions of the state of the city at that time, or please feel free to communicate with City Manager Gora or myself via email through the city website if you choose. Moving on, the purchasing manual is our next item on tonight's agenda. I'm going to turn to Finance Director Kathy Haley for a presentation of that backup material. Kathy?
Thank you. I'm very pleased tonight to present this purchasing manual. It has been a long, very collaborative effort with staff. It started out in the Finance Advisory Committee in April, and at the July 14th meeting, they made a motion to approve this purchasing manual and forward it on to City Council. So it's tonight being presented at the Committee of the Whole. It will come back because it is a pretty lengthy manual. We wanted to give you some time to read it and really absorb it. It'll come back at the August 10th City Council meeting for formal action. The manual isn't designed to be a standalone manual. It's designed to be a fluid document and can be amended from time to time to conform to changes in legislation, technology, and actual practice. The objective of this manual is to guide city staff in the purchasing of goods and services while abiding by both state laws and local ordinance that govern the city of DeKalb. The goal is to obtain quality goods and services at the lowest possible price. With this manual, we will be doing a significant amount of training with staff, and we will be incorporating an automated purchasing requisition system. Currently, it's not automated. We'll be using our financial software to do so. Carrie Parker from our Accounts Payable Department will be very beneficial. She's here tonight in the back row, and actually was quite helpful in putting this entire manual together, so a special thank you to her. I don't want to read this verbatim, of course, to you, but I'll just go through a couple sections that I think are important. We've added some sections such as Code of Ethics and Conflict of Interest policies, which I think are important to this process, and I will emphasize when we go through the training, as well as the gift and gratuity section. We are, of course, ruled by the Gift Ban Act, but I think it's always important to restate those policies and keep that at the forefront. Approval of city purchases, again, the departments will be keen in their own requisitions, and then it'll go through a series of approval depending on the dollar amount. So you can see on page 8, anything under $5,000, and these are pretty consistent to what we are now. So anything over $20,000 or $20,000 and above still requires City Council approval. How that would work with an automated system is that requisition can get entered and go through that workflow approval process in the financial software, but it will not be created as a purchase order until either a formal resolution or an agreement has been approved by council, and that'll be attached to that final purchase order document. All contracts must be signed by the city manager or his or her designee. We have a section in here for soliciting quotes. We are requiring 3 written quotes for anything $5,000 and one to $19,999. And those will also be scanned and attached to that requisition, so we will make sure that those have been requested. In the event that 3 written quotes cannot be obtained, then a reason must be attached as to why. 20,000 and above will go through the competitive bid process as they do now. Our bid packet hasn't changed. It's still the same as it has been. I have John here also in case you have specific questions, and please feel free to ask me anything throughout. Even with items under $5,000, we are going to emphasize that it's always a good practice to try to call and get competitive pricing. It may not have to be a formal quote, but we should always be looking for the best possible price. At the beginning of this year, or actually it was mid-year, we called around in all our office supplies and called 3 different vendors with our regular purchases to make sure we were getting a good quote or a good price. We always want to include the state contract in that, but that doesn't always mean they're going to be the lowest. So we're being cognizant of items under $5,000 as well. There's sections on sole source purchasing, emergency purchasing as well. Those situations may come up. We've given some samples of when that might be in play. For example, the sole source purchasing, I think John had water meters on the agenda last meeting, which is a good example of sole source purchasing. It's a piece of equipment that we have a lot of other pieces of equipment that have to fit into it, and so it's really a unique purchase and is a sole source purchase or considered a sole source purchase. We have requests for qualification section and a request for professional services section to assist with staff, as well as service contracts, waiver of competitive bidding when that might be an issue. If it is, adequate justification must be forwarded to the city manager. After that is reviewed, it does then need to be forwarded on to the city council for final consideration. There is a local vendor section. Also was a topic of discussion with the finance committee, and we ended up with this particular quote, still giving local vendors preference if if everything else is equal between 2 or more vendors. The bidding process is also in here. That hasn't changed. That's several pages towards the end. When a purchase order would be required, it may not just be for a $5,000 purchase. It could be for any capital outlay. It could be if the vendor requires it. If it's less than $5,000, then a purchase order would be required. There may be open purchase orders done at the beginning of the year. If we buy water meters throughout the year, we may not want to hold them in inventory for the entire year. We can create that open purchase order for the total amount, but just liquidate a certain amount of that purchase order throughout the year as we purchase them. I went through the issuance of the purchase order process. New vendors, of course, will require a W-9. And then we have a couple items in here. Purchasing cards, we are migrating towards a true P-card system. Currently, we're on more of a credit card system. There's a petty cash procedure in here. Still, it's the same, except for finance is now doing surprise audits quarterly. And we have been doing those, and those have actually been going quite well. And that's about it, unless anyone has any questions. Yes?
Alderman Baker.
This is directed to the city attorney, and I don't want an answer right now. One of the companies that I still own is the Copy Service, and when I first came on the council, 14, 15 years ago, the city of DeKalb did about $40,000 worth of business with me annually for a decade or two before that. We were, for a long time, before Office Max, the only office supply store in the whole community. Everybody came to us. We had deep discounts over the years with other attorneys before you. There were opinions that as long as I didn't go around to the different department heads personally, that they could continue to buy there. And when we were cheaper, obviously they did. Our copies and printing are definitely the cheapest in the county still. But I've watched a year or two ago, I think we only did $14 with the city. And I'm sure this is because of the community watching these payables, as well as the staff being concerned about a potential conflict of interest. But if it comes down to trying to save the money to the city and you can't buy from my store, which I don't know why that would be, but if that is the decision, then what I would do is hook the city up with our supplier so they could buy at our prices, which would definitely be cheaper, and they'll deliver every day. Last I knew, we were getting deliveries every day. So I didn't want to talk about this behind the scenes because it's too important. Thank you.
We'd be happy to look at that and get a response back to you.
Other discussion or questions of Kathy this evening?
And please feel free to call me or email me with any concerns or questions as well. So,
Absolutely. I was going to encourage council members to peruse the manual, think about the presentation that Director Haley has given this evening. As we approach our August 10th meeting, this item will be on our agenda for approval at that time. I would encourage you to focus questions to Kathy's attention before that time, and we'll be glad to field those. Okay, thank you for the presentation this evening, Kathy. Public participation. I don't have anyone registered to speak, but is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council this evening? Okay. Thank you. I would, at this point, entertain a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole. Is there a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We will reconvene at 6 o'clock, the regular meeting of City Council.